This is the laziest way to becoming a brilliant communicator in just 9 minutes a week. Like I'm saying, this is so lazy that if you don't do this, you're never going to improve the way you speak. The process I'm about to teach you, I've taken millions of students through, from beginners just starting on their journey to CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, to help them go from rambling to articulate, from being monotone to expressive, and from being shy to confident. And guess what? It works. This is my promise to you. If you go through this process that I'm about to take you through just once, you immediately spot the unconscious habits that's causing you to sound unprofessional, untrustworthy, and maybe even unlikable. Then you're going to have a 12-week plan that you can follow to improve these exact behaviors. I know it sounds like a lot, but like I said, 9 minutes a week is all you need. And if you can't do that, then might as well just close this video and go watch a random cat video. Okay, now that we've got the committed people in the room, let's get started. This is what you're going to need: your phone, a pen and paper, and your laptop or computer. This is a 4-step process to develop more self-awareness with the way you communicate. Once you complete these 4 steps, then I'll show you how to take all of those learnings and put it into a 12-week plan. Step number 1, the communication mirror. Every morning we wake up, we get changed, we inevitably look at ourselves in the mirror. We spend so much of our time focusing on our visual image, which is how we look and the way we dress. But when was the last time you looked into a communication mirror to focus on your vocal image, how you sound and how you speak? You're gonna hate this, but the first step of this process to develop more self-awareness is you recording a 5-minute video of yourself speaking to the camera. It has to be completely impromptu and unplanned. Go to ChatGPT and type in this prompt. Don't worry, I'll leave the prompt for you in the description. But here's the prompt I want you to type. I'm practicing impromptu speaking to improve my communication skills. Generate 10 open-ended questions that I can answer out loud for 5 minutes. The question should be suitable for beginners, not overly deep, abstract, or too philosophical. Focus on personal and professional themes only. Exclude philosophical, global, political topics. Be specific enough to trigger a clear story, example, or an opinion. Encourage reflection, explanation, and storytelling rather than yes-no answers. Vary in tone. Include a mix of lightness, fun, and moderately serious prompts. Once you've generated a list of questions, take out your phone, go to the camera app, and make sure you're standing for this when you're recording it. So make sure you've got a position where it can capture your full body. Hit record and start answering the questions until you get around about 5 minutes worth of content. A quick little hack here: print out a photo of your best friend and stick a photo of them above your phone so it helps you feel more natural when you're talking. Naturally, you just start with the first question, you speak for as long as you can on that question, and when you run out of things to say, move to the next. Remember, the goal here is we're trying to tease out all of the non-functional behaviors that are robbing you of clarity and masterful communication. Once you're done, stop the recording and go do something else. Take your mind off the whole thing that you just went through. Leave it for 24 hours. Trust me, this micro step is critical. When you review the footage right after the recording, you're still inside the performance. You're still emotionally attached. You're way too self-conscious and focused on how it feels rather than how it landed. Your ego is still in the driver's seat, thinking, why do I sound like that? Why does my hair look weird? Why wasn't it as good as I thought? But after 24 hours, your brain shifts from defensive mode to observer mode. And now you're calmer, more objective, less reactive. And now finally, you can actually see what your audience would see when you're talking. But before we move to the next steps, I want to try an experiment on you. In a moment, I'm going to share with you a video with 3 students in the video, and they all take turns raising their hands. But I want you to specifically focus in on how many times 2 students raise their hands at the same time. Got the mission? Count how many times 2 students raise their hands at the same time. You ready? Go for it. Ooh, how many times did you guess? How many times did it happen? If you guessed 3, then you're correct. But did you notice the bright purple toy the man in the front row raised in his hand? Did you notice the purple toy? Probably didn't, did you? This is exactly what happens when you isolate your focus. You only see the thing you focus on. If I asked you to focus on the purple toy, then you would have seen the purple toy. But because I asked you to focus on the hands raising at the same time between two people, that's all you were seeing. And why am I telling you all of this and doing this experiment on you? I'm sharing with you the importance of focus. And that's exactly what we're about to do. We're about to isolate the different modalities of communication so that we can focus on one thing at a time. Let's zoom into the first communication modality we're doing here, the vocal review. Why do most people hate the sound of their voice, especially when they speak on camera and then listen to it back through video? The reason this happens is because when you hear yourself through video, that's how other people hear you, not how you hear you. Stick with me. When you hear yourself in your head, you're hearing yourself through the vibrations of your bones and muscles. Whereas when other people hear you, they hear you through the vibrations in the air. When you do an auditory review, what we're doing now, this helps you hear yourself the way others hear you. So here's what you do. Take the video you just recorded on your phone, turn up the volume, press play, then turn the phone around so the screen is facing down. Don't watch yourself yet, just listen and write down the answers to these following questions. How does my voice make me feel when I listen to it back? Does my vocal delivery match the message I'm trying to get across? When do I sound most believable and most disconnected? What happens to my pitch at the end of my sentences? Do I go up with it or do I go down with authority? Do I pause strategically or do I just fill every moment of silence with noise? And just the final check, write down a list of vocal behaviors that were distracting and a list of vocal behaviors that were engaging and good. All right, step 3. Now let's zoom in and dive into visual review. Now let me ask you a similar question I did at the start of step 2. Why do most people feel weird seeing themselves in photos and videos? In fact, why do most people not want to see themselves in photos and definitely not want to watch themselves back on video? It's because of this. All right, you got to follow me with this here, okay? When I look at myself on camera right now, this is not how I see myself. Because when you look in the mirror every morning, do you know how you see yourself? You see yourself flipped. So let's flip this video. This is how I normally see myself every day. So when I look at myself in the mirror, this is what I normally see. But then when I see myself on video, flip, I go, wait, what? That doesn't look like me. And you're probably thinking, Vin, you look exactly the same. But let me flip it quickly for you. Look, this is me flipping it from mirror, video, mirror, video, mirror, video, mirror, video, mirror, video. See that difference? It's because my face is not symmetrical. And if you go through your entire life getting used to seeing yourself like this on the mirror, and then you see yourself like this on camera, that subtle difference freaks you out. And the most beautiful thing about this process is that the more you do it, the more you'll start to adapt to see yourself the way the world sees you. After you get past that hurdle, this is what you do next. Turn your phone back around so you can see the screen. Turn the volume down to 0, make sure it's muted. Now press play and just look at yourself. And I want you to write down the answers to these questions. Where do I look when I'm thinking about what to say next? What are my default hand gestures? Do I use my face to express emotions? What are my visual tics that are distracting? Do I look confident or do I look apologetic with my body language? Again, I want you to write down a list of things that are distracting and also write down a list of things that you find really engaging that you do visually. Okay, this is really exciting now because this is the step before we take all of our learnings and observations and put it into a pragmatic 12-week plan. This is where transformations happen. I want you to take your video and use any transcription tool online to turn your video into text. So now you can see what you said word for word, a completely different perspective. Make sure to tick the option where you keep your non-words and filler words in. Non-words are the sounds you make to fill the silence. Filler words are the words you use to fill the silence. And like so, do you know what I mean? No editing allowed while you're getting this transcript. Once you have the transcript, I want you to ask yourself the following questions as you review the transcript. Does each paragraph make one clear point, or am I trying to do too much in one go? Do I use short, clear words or long, complicated ones I wouldn't normally say in conversations? What are my non-words? What are my filler words? Bring these to the forefront of your consciousness. Are there any words I repeat too often? Words like, literally, actually, amazing, just? How clear is the structure of what I'm saying? Can someone read this and follow along logically and easily? Write down any notes that you have around the way you use words and construct your sentences. Once you're done with your own review, I would then use AI to help you. So go to ChatGPT, upload the transcript with the following prompt. It's too long to read out right now, so I'll just leave it in the description for you down below. I got you. You'll start to see what you're doing well and where you can grow, and you'll notice things about your word choice that you've probably never noticed before. Let's just do a quick recap on everything that we have. So far now, you're going to have a bunch of notes on your vocal qualities. Now you're also going to have a bunch of notes on your visual qualities. Now, with the help of AI, you've got a list of things for you to work on too with your verbiage. I've been teaching communication skills now for more than 15 years, and one of the biggest struggles that people have, do you know what it is? It's speaking on the spot when put under pressure. And then when this happens, they lose their train of thought, which causes them to ramble, and then they lose clarity when they're communicating. And you might have seen this within your own feedback or the feedback the AI gave you. And if you found that you were repeating yourself and you were rambling and you had these weird pauses because you couldn't translate your thoughts into words fast enough, then that's why you need to learn to speak using communication frameworks. Communication frameworks allow you to quickly organize your thoughts before you speak, so that when you are asked a question during a work meeting, you're not scrambling to try to find the right answers and you're stumbling over your words. You're ready. So if you want to learn my top 3 communication frameworks to speak in a more clear, concise, and coherent way, make sure you click the link in the description or click the card up here, or you can also use the QR code to access my free 2-hour training on communication frameworks. This is going to transform the way you communicate. All right, here's the fun part, because now we've got a bunch of behaviors with our voice, a bunch of behaviors with our body, and a bunch of behaviors with our word choice. Now we're going to take all of that and build a 12-week plan. I want you to create a Google sheet like this, or just draw this table in your workbook. And I want you to do the following. For week 1, you need to pick one behavior you want to improve. And it can come from any bucket. It can come from the vocal, the visual, or the verbal bucket. Pick one behavior you want to improve. Let's say, for example, we pick a vocal one. We pick volume. Now, once you pick volume, I'm just going to create an example here. Say you're someone who speaks fairly quietly. You speak at a 2 out of 10, so you're very soft and quiet. And you notice that when watching your video, and you think to yourself, when I speak like this, people are going to look at me as being someone who has low levels of self-confidence. I don't believe in the things I'm saying. There's no authority. So then you go, well, what I want to practice is, I want to practice speaking with stronger volume. I want at least a 7 out of 10 when it comes to volume. That's the only thing you focus on that week. You're not allowed to focus on anything else, because when you focus on one thing, you are much more likely to improve that behavior. But when you focus on 10 different things, nothing improves. And at the end of that week, week 1 of you focusing on just volume, you need to now do a record and review session. So you record a video of yourself speaking on camera again for 5 minutes, just like you did at the top of this process. And then when you watch that back, you go, did I improve my base volume from a 2 to a 7? And if you did, happy days. You're now moving on to the next behavior you're going to improve. But more likely than not, because you've been speaking quietly for the last 10, 15, 20, 30 years of your life, you may find at the end of the first week, you're still speaking really quietly. And if you're speaking really quietly, well, you know what? You're not allowed to advance forward with any new behaviors. You have to continue the second week working on volume. And I know what you're thinking right now. What, volume again, Vin? This is so boring. I can tell you right now, I've coached high-level CEOs of massive companies, and I put them through the exact same process. One of my students that I coached, one of my coaching clients, his name is Dave Long, the CEO of Orange Theory Fitness in America. I put him through this process where for weeks and weeks, he just worked on volume. And again, you might be thinking, this is crazy, Vin. Well, the reason is because you've been repeating these behaviors for the last 15, 10, 20, 30 years of your life. To unlearn these behaviors takes time. Just by him changing his volume, I want you to watch in this example. This is how he started.
I'm excited, but I'm also nervous. My heart is racing. Before we begin,
would you take a look at this? 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 Would you take a look at this?
You've got 2,500 people. Yeah. They want energy. You've got to give it to them. You owe them that. All right? I'll be behind you. You've got to give us energy. You've got to give us energy. Volume, volume, volume.
Would you take a look at this? Would you take a look at this? Would you take a look at this? That breathtaking view reminds us of where we are as a brand.
But watch what happened after 4 weeks of working on volume. Look what we unlocked. Check this out.
Let's keep climbing. Who's coming with me?
Woo! Orange Nation, let's keep climbing. Who's coming with me? Who's coming with me?
Who's coming with me?
Let's keep climbing. Who's coming with me?
And the crazy thing in this example is that just with one vocal habit alone, yes or no, did he not completely transform the way he comes across? So again, was the 4 weeks worth it? Absolutely, absolutely. So stick to this process, because now when you do the record and review in week 4 and you look at it and you go, you know what, I did achieve the 7 out of 10. Now you have the permission to move on to the next behavior you want to improve with your communication skills. And that might come from, say, for example, the visual bucket. You might pick hand gestures. And let's just do one more example. In the hand gesture example, you notice with yourself that you always use the same gesture over and over and over. You always do this and then you always have your hands in your pocket. So what you can do now is you make a goal. I want to expand my gesture vocabulary. So then in the next week, all you focus on is in every conversation, I'm going to focus on expanding my gesture vocabulary so that I can become more clear with the way I communicate visually. And you get the gist from this point. You just keep going and going with hand gestures until you get your hand gestures to a point where you feel satisfied. And then the moment you feel satisfied with your hand gestures, you can move on to the next behavior. And you know when I told you it was a 12-week plan? Yeah, I lied. Improving your communication skills is not a 12-week plan. It's a lifelong journey that only takes 9 minutes a week. Do you know what the most beautiful thing about this process is? When you go through the process that I've just shared with you, you're going to get a list of things to improve that's specific to you. Things that if you improved, it will change your life. The biggest danger with the internet is you listen to somebody's, hey, this is the top 7 things you should improve. Hey, this is the top 10 things you should improve. But those general list of top 10 things might not apply to you. It might not actually apply to you. So by you going through this process, it creates a custom list of things that if you improve, you will experience transformation that's going to help you improve in your life. So stop scrolling through Instagram and YouTube, even stop watching some of my videos. Go through this process and create a list that's for you, that will change you. In the years of me teaching this process to my students, I can tell you the one thing that students struggle with the most. The thing they struggle with the most, they tend to get this feedback from me, or you may be getting it back from AI, is that when you speak, your thoughts don't come across logically, nor does it come across clearly. And again, that's because you don't speak with frameworks. So if you do want to improve the way you speak and the structure of your speech, then I've recorded a free 2-hour training on communication frameworks. If you want to deep dive into improving your communication frameworks, and that becomes one of the things you need to improve in your 12-week plan, then click the link below to access that training. Or you can click the card or scan the QR code. And just before we part ways, I want to share with you a quote that's going to inspire you so you get off your ass and start applying the knowledge you've learned here. Don't be so attached to who you are in the present that you don't give the future version of you a chance. I actually have nowhere to walk, actually. It was just so dramatic I needed to walk. See you in next week's video.